This is Jennifer Hale, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And, I should go.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 150 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Hear that sound? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know how good my microphone's picking this up. Anyway, that is the proverbial hat with names in it. We're gonna do that. Oh boy, what's gonna happen? We don't know! That's half the fun. I'm a little punch drunk. Anyway, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. We'll go on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello and happy Epi-versary.
Yay.
Happy Epi-versary to us.
It's a big number.
Yep.
150. Yeah, I realized
That's pretty special.
Yeah, that's pretty 50.
Yeah.
I realized we were hitting this number, and then I realized that it was also near Chrissy's due date. So, like, should we try to plan something big and then hope she makes it or not?
Well, I'm still here, so in case you're wondering, no, I've not had the baby yet.
Yes. We can
am
almost
4 days overdue.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, but we could probably definitely say at this point, Chrissy will not be with us next week.
Yeah,
Because one way or another, this baby is coming.
We are
later this week.
I am gonna be induced later this week. So
if he doesn't come,
one way or another, he's coming before next week.
Yes. So Chrissy will be on the podcast maternity leave for the foreseeable future after this week.
Yes, but there will be pictures and such. So
Of course. That is mandatory.
Yes.
Like, look at my little lump of flesh that I brought forth into the world.
Yes, it's like those dog memes more, and the dogs look all proud and stuff, and like, I made this.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, yep. So anyway.
Yep. Alrighty then. Which, for better or worse, I guess, that's what it is. We have like two pieces of news. And unfortunately, one of them is 10 o'clock news.
How many weeks is this now that we've had some form of 10 o'clock news?
At least 3 or 4. I think we're on a good month at least of having to do at least one bit of 10 o'clock news.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. We have the passing of Robert Hardy, which I think if we were in the UK, his name would probably be more recognizable, more than likely. But for those of us of a certain probably age, as well, we know him best as the, for better or worse, Minister of Magic Cornelius Fudge in the Harry Potter films.
Yes. And then also, if you ever have seen All Creatures Great and Small, which features Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor, it was the show he did before he was in Doctor Who. Robert Hardy was the now I can't remember what his character was, but he was one of the vets in that show. And I watched a few episodes of that because I was going through my Peter Davison watch, like, what else has he been in? Plus the Vortex Boys did it for their Beyond the Doctor segment a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that guy. He's Cornelius Fudge, and his character is quite enchanting in that show too. He was kind of curmudgeonly, but still a good guy.
Yeah.
I was like, it's always sad when someone passes that even though he's like was 91, I believe. Yes, that's what it says.
I like the quote from the article from the BBC, though. It says his family called him gruff, elegant, twinkly, and always dignified.
Yeah,
It's
that of the things I've seen him in, that pretty much.
adjectives used to describe him, twinkly. I don't know him as anything other than Harry Potter, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, even when he played Cornelius Fudge, and Fudge was turning into a terrible,
Idiot.
Awful. Insert foul language here.
I'm reading Order
He still
of the
kind
Phoenix
of had
right
that
now,
little
so.
that little twinkle
Yeah.
to his portrayal. So it was still likable, even though Fudge as a character in the fifth movie especially is supposed to make you want to smack him upside the head. But
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So. Robert Hardy.
But he will be missed.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then our other bit of news comes from ABC. I don't know if they're they release this. It's at the Television Critics Association press tour, they announced that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 will not be premiering in January like we thought. It will actually premiere right after Inhumans finishes its run, so it'll be sometime in mid-November, actually. And unless something happens, the entire 22 episodes should air with little or no interruption, unlike last season where it got broken up into 3 chunks. So, yay! Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming back sooner than we thought, which is always a good thing. And considering considering Inhumans is getting dragged through the dirt right now, from this same event, the Television Critics Association press tour, they also had a presentation in Inhumans, and it did not go over very well.
Oh dear.
Not necessarily for the show itself and the content, but the actors and the showrunners' attitudes when being asked questions, especially Jeff Loeb, who's the guy in charge of Inhumans. Apparently he's not taking to the criticism very well, and kind of firing back, and not putting the best face forward for trying to get people to watch the show, I think.
Yeah, nothing says "come watch my show" than bad publicity, attitude.
A little bit. So I'm trying to ignore it for the most part. It's like it's gonna air. I'm gonna watch it just because it's Marvel, and I'll be like the one person watching probably. That's okay. I'm fine with that.
We could probably do a whole episode about such things, but
probably.
That's not today.
Yeah. So yeah. I would ignore the critics and watch it and form your own opinion. So that's my opinion on people's opinions.
That's a good attitude to have.
Yes. And if speaking of Marvel, I guess if this is, the whole Inhumans thing is wearing you down, go watch the video for Guardians Inferno.
No kidding. That was... I mean, okay, so, the last couple of days I've been really just bummed out because I'm like, my baby isn't being born.
Yeah.
And I found that video and we watched it over and over and I'm like, okay, that really cheered me up a lot. And even if you're not having a bad day, just go watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll say, even if
we linked to it on our Facebook page.
It's way funnier if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy and know who these people are. But even if you don't, the video, the style is it's so cheesy. It's 70s disco, polyester, neon, disco lights, goodness.
If you
Best thing
if you
ever.
have the Guardians 2 soundtrack, it's saw the movie,
Yeah.
it's the song that David Hasselhoff sings. I guess I don't know if it's really singing, but sure, we'll go with it.
It's
And
Hasselhoff.
it's the music video for that.
Yes. Which I remember James Gunn teasing that was coming like weeks ago, and then forgot about it, of course. And then it dropped yesterday, and I watched it multiple times, and it's already got like 2 million views on YouTube. And
yes,
it is fabulous. It is the best thing I've seen in a long, long time. It is.
It's just like
so
it's like
funny.
you know that's how Guardians of the Galaxy rolls. It's like they're there to have fun.
I mean, if you want to be, I guess, cynical about it, yes, it's an advertisement for the DVD coming out in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? They could have just their advertisement could have been just the DVDs coming out in a couple of weeks.
This is like
blah blah blah,
yeah.
And then it's like, but they do this whole big, and they get all the not all the actors, but most of the actors from the movie,
yes,
in this utterly bonkers, ridiculous. It's just like it's amazing.
Oh,
and we're sitting there watching it, and Jared's like, "Oh my gosh, that's Dave Bautista,"
yeah.
because we didn't realize at first because the makeup and the costuming on it. Because I was like watching there, I'm like, I think that's Kara. That is her.
For a lot of these people, yeah. If you don't know what they look like in real life outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, you may, you're gonna be like, wait, who is that? Because I watched it like 3 times before Chauncey saw it, and then I made him watch it, and he's like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? I'm like, that's Dave Bautista. He's like, who's that? I'm like, that's Drax. He's like, who's that? That's Sean Gunn. That's James Gunn's brother. That's James Gunn right there. That's Karen Gillan. That's Zoe Saldana. It's like pretty much it, except for Chris Pratt and a certain king of cameos who has to make an appearance. Yeah, some of the people are not recognizable. Like, okay,
Chris Pratt has to be in here somewhere, right?
Yeah,
he does show up, but if you haven't,
yeah, you got to be patient.
David Hasselhoff, because of course, he's the
everybody knows David Hasselhoff, but yeah, and then there's it being a Marvel thing. There's a certain cameo that has to show his face, and it's wonderful, and I crack up every time. I watch this video like 5 or 6 times, and every time he pops up on the screen, I just laugh. Like, he's just so proud to be there.
Yep.
It's wonderful. Oh,
it was a treat. So thank you, James Gunn and the cast of Guardians. You totally made our day and week and everything else.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
This is why we love you.
Yeah.
Because honestly, they didn't have to do that, but they did it, and it's glorious.
Oh yeah. Marketing for the win.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna start crying just thinking about it. Like, seriously, like I was laughing so hard, and I made Chauncey watch it, and I'm like, he's in the chair and he's watching on his big computer screen. I'm behind him, because he's like, who's that? And I'm telling him, and I'm just laughing. And at one point, I literally fall on the floor, and I'm rolling on the floor laughing, and I have tears just gushing out of my eyes because I'm laughing so hard.
And honestly, even if they didn't have the actors from the movie in the video, it still would have just been so funny because it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the David Hasselhoff song that's on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it just adds to it. It adds to it that they all showed up to do that, and like they have so much fun. And I think when you have a cast that has that much fun on a movie, and they do goofy stuff like this, and it just shows, and it makes it just that much more entertaining and fun for the fans to watch. It's not just another job for them. This is actually something that they're really passionate and having a good time about.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I don't know. That's why I like Guardians of the Galaxy.
And that's why we're getting Guardians at Walt Disney World, because it's awesome.
Yep. I think no matter what happens with Marvel in the future, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is just always going to be the real what am I trying to say? It's just always going to be a favorite.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the rest of Marvel isn't great, but
There's just something a little extra special about Guardians.
yep.
Anyway, all right. Now that's it for news. So, guess we shall move on. I guess so. We might end up talking about Guardians of the Galaxy some more, depending on whose names come out of this hat. So,
Yep.
because there's at least a couple of them in here. So, I actually need to add more names. We have a list of more names than what's actually in here. I just haven't bothered to write them down on little strips of paper and add them. So,
we'll mix it up probably after, or mix it up more after this installment.
yeah,
maybe.
Well, this is the 5th time around we've done this, so
it's a fun one.
it is a fun
Or at least
one.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, so
Me too.
have your IMDb and Wikipedia entries ready. So just in case, depending on whose name we get pulled. So all right, mixing it up. Let's see who we get.
And our first entry is...
Whoops. One just fell out. That one can't count.
Oh. Cooperate.
I'm
Come on.
if one of the actors is going to be somebody from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, the first...
Well, we'll gush about him some more.
Yeah. Or her. Nope.
Or her.
Nope, not from Guardians of the Galaxy, but still a Marvel connection. Kind of, sort of. So our first name this time around, Hugh Jackman.
Woo!
Hello, Wolverine.
Yes.
Yep.
As well as lots of other things, too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Among other things.
So, yeah, we all know him as Wolverine. I mean, you see those memes going around of, here's all the people who've played Sherlock, and here's the people who've played Spider-Man, and here's people, I'm just trying to think other,
Yeah.
and then here's everyone who's played Wolverine, and it's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think the best way I can sum up Hugh Jackman, and this is something I've thought for many years, well, at least since the first X-Men movie came out, because about the same time he was in the movie Kate and Leopold, which is kind of a romantic comedy where he's a time traveler, like this. Yeah, if you haven't seen, he's a time traveler from like Victorian times, and he ends up in the modern era, and he's this romantic gentleman, and is it Meg Ryan that plays Kate?
Yes.
Okay, I was just and so it's a really cute story, and I just always remember thinking very few actors can pull off playing an action hero like Wolverine and then turn around and play a fancy Victorian gentleman like that, and I'm like, I really like that. And then later he was in Les Mis, and then I found out he was in does a lot of musical theater, and he can sing, and it's like, holy cow.
It was the first time I realized, wait, Wolverine can sing? What is this craziness?
Yes. And if you've ever seen the Honest trailer for Les Mis, and they do the starring part, and they call him Fancy Wolverine.
Love it. Actually, with Kate and Leopold, I just, for the first time, seen that just a couple years ago. Really
It's good.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies, and I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm like, I need to watch it again.
And he also plays a vampire hunter in Van Helsing.
Right.
Him and Van Helsing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
And then if you're looking for him to go mano a mano, pretty much with John Travolta, Swordfish is your go-to.
I haven't seen that.
It's with Halle Berry, Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cyberspace firewall passwords. Kind of the world's most dangerous spy is hired by the CIA to coerce a computer hacker recently released from prison to help steal 6 billion in uninsured government funds.
So, he can do action, he can do romantic comedy, he can do comedy, and, he's just kind of one of those actors that can do it all. And by all accounts, he's good at it.
Yeah.
And another quasi-good musical movie that's a little on the long side that's so worth it, Australia.
Oh, yeah, that's that other... Okay, yes. I remember that one. It's been years since I've seen it, but...
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of almost a Western, too, but it, takes place in Australia.
Yes.
Obviously, the name.
Mm-hmm. But it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've had that DVD, but I never watched it, because I think I got it cheap from, like, Rite Aid or something, and then I lost it, and I was mad, because I wanted to see it, but I just never was able to sit down and watch it, because I knew it was longish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But watch it, sit down, you don't have to sit down and watch it all in one go. You can, like, sit down and watch it in chunks, if that's all you have time for. Because it's kind of like, there's like acts of it, like, act 1, act 2. Well, okay, not... Mm-hmm. It's not formally broken up like that, but you can kind of see where the different storylines.
Yeah. And Elton John did have a little help with the music for that one too.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It also had a little cameo in the third night at the museum.
Oh, right. He did, because he was...
Yes.
Because there was a play that they kind of crashed, and he was there, and they made a Hugh Jackman joke, and now I can't remember what it was. Because I've only seen that movie once, but...
Yes.
But yeah, but definitely, I guess, Wolverine's kind of the main one that he's most known for, at least...
He's been in a lot of things, but less than I thought, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like he should have been in more movies that he's been in. I don't know why. What? I think maybe I thought he'd been acting longer than he has been. I mean, I'm just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't. I mean, the original X-Men in 2000 was really his first breakthrough role, so it's less than 20 years. So
well, and
most of that's been playing Wolverine.
I remember when I was in college, we were one of my roommates was watching our local PBS station one night, and it was a musical, and it was like a stage production, very obviously a stage production. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And then Hugh Jackman comes up on stage, and it's Oklahoma, and he's singing, and I'm just kind of like, wait a minute, how did they get Hugh Jackman to do that? Then I realized it was an older production of it, and I can't remember where it was from exactly. But, I mean, he's been around and doing things, especially like musical theater. It's just relatively recently, I guess, he's been a big, well, relatively movie star kind of a guy. But
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see Real Steel, which is apparently like giant robot boxing.
Like rock and roll. Yes.
Like, I kind of want to see it, especially now, like, looking at the cast, and Anthony Mackie's in it, and Eugene.
I know one movie that Jackman's been in that I've yet to see, and I know I need to, but I thought we owned it, but we actually don't, is The Prestige.
I have seen that one, and it is really good. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that I'm like, I really liked it the first time I watched it, but then I you find out what the big twist is, because it's a Nolan movie and there are lots of twists in it. And so I'm like, I don't know if I could sit down and watch it again, although maybe I'm due for another look at it. But I really enjoyed it. Like, David Bowie plays
okay, I was just about to
ask. Yeah, say David Bowie plays Nikola Tesla. I know that. Nikola
Tesla, and it's the Hugh Jackman is a magician kind of a guy, or there's like a big
I know the premise.
Guys.
It's a rivalry between his magician and Christian Bale's magician.
Yeah.
So,
And of course,
Yes.
Michael Caine's in it somewhere, I think.
yes.
Hey, even Andy Serkis is in it.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you look at, this is one of those those movies you look at the cast list and like, how did I not know that so and so was in this? And
Yeah. How did I miss this the first time round?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure I didn't see it till it was on DVD, but I'm sure like, you know, it's one of those that's like, oh, I wish I would have seen this in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, it is really good. I do want to watch it one more time, but I'm hesitant to, just because the first time watching it was just so fun and amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like a second viewing would not be quite so much, because I know what's going on, but maybe enough time has passed that I've forgotten.
Or at the very least, watch it for David Bowie, I guess.
Oh yes, David Bowie is a treat in that movie. And he's not in it he's not in it that much compared to the others, but he still like makes the most of the screen time he does have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, outside of what few X-Men movies I've seen, actually, I haven't actually seen a lot that Hugh's actually done, and I know I've mentioned before, Chauncey's issues with Hugh Jackman being cast as Wolverine in the first place. He thought he was too young, he was too pretty, he was. Not the Wolverine that he wanted, and they finally gave him the Wolverine that he wanted with Logan, which is the last Wolverine movie, until something probably comes along where that convinces you to put the claws back on. So
and this is kind of the thing with Wolverine. Because, Hugh Jackman played him from, 2001-ish onward, up until Logan this past year. And I look at some of the standalone Wolverine movies, like X-Men Origins Wolverine is not a good movie at all. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here going like, well, I mean, even X-Men 3 is just, ugh. Less said about that, the better. But I'm just kind of like, how did they get him to come back for all these other movies? Like, I haven't seen the Wolverine just because Origins. It kind of made me gun shy about going to see another one.
It's better. Oh, sorry.
Oh well. I was gonna say but he's got a cameo in that one, but he's not really in it. And then Days of Future Past was a lot of fun to watch. And I'm just kind of like, he must really have loved the character to come back and because the studio kept saying, oh, let's try it again. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what goes through an actor's mind when they, have all these projects, or, maybe it's just like, oh, well, it's a check or something. But it just feels like he really wanted to get the character right. So he kept coming back to it, even though the movies that he was, the scripts, things that he was given were not that great, until they finally did get it right with Logan.
Kinda
and
like
then he's like,
Deadpool.
okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Speaking of Wolverine origin. I'll get it right. Yeah.
Yes. It'll be interesting to see where the X-Men franchise goes now that he's sort of retired from the thing. It's like, okay, who else do you guys have?
Yeah.
To be your big star for this franchise? Because
I
mean, there are a lot of X-Men, and there are a lot of different ones that are very popular.
Yeah. Well, I think they're still trying to get that Gambit movie off the ground, but hasn't quite found its
Gambit.
wings. Yeah.
I hope so. That's like the best part in Origins with Gambit.
Yeah, Taylor Kitsch is Gambit. I'm like, give him a movie. Come on, he's wonderful. But like between that and the disappointment, or how disappointing John Carter was. I mean, that movie was great. I'm going to go on a tangent. That movie was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing failed it.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Like, of all the actors I do like, I really want Taylor Kitsch to get a fair shake at something. Because I do like him. I'm like, you've just had some bad luck with the movies you've been in, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's a tangent and aside.
And I guess if looking forward, if anyone wants to catch Mr. Jackman in anything upcoming, actually at Christmas, is the Greatest Showman, which is the biographical film about P.T. Barnum, Hugh Jackman is going to be playing. So, but it's actually going to be a musical. So it's a musical drama.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one. I mean, it looked kind of
I've seen the trailers for it, so
kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's a, you know, the Barnum and Bailey circus is a big part of, you know, our cultural history, and I don't think it's something that's really been portrayed on film very much. And I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
And I hope it's good. I hope it does well. And I mean, I'm sure Hugh Jackman will give it his all, because I don't know that he's never done that in any role. It's just sometimes the movies that he's been in other things have fallen down around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie.
Yeah.
I hope with good reason.
Yes. Well, you know, it comes out.
He also stars the girl who played Michelle in Homecoming.
Yeah, Zendaya.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, it comes out at Christmas, so I guess if every screening of The Last Jedi is sold out near you, you can go see that instead over Christmas break.
Yeah, or if you've already seen Star Wars and you're like, I want something a little more Oscar bait.
Yeah.
Which this movie seems to be.
Yeah, this definitely sounds Oscar bait.
Yeah.
That's actually one I'm excited about.
It's a musical and a biopic.
There you go.
So, there you
Apparently
go.
a movie coming out next year, but I don't know a date yet, but called Broadway 4D sounds interesting. The little that they show.
And I guess you can always keep your eyes peeled for when Deadpool 2 comes out, and maybe Wolverine will make a little appearance.
More than just
more than he already did in the first Deadpool.
a mask.
The magazine cut out of the magazine. So Hugh Jackman did make a cameo in the first Deadpool movie. It just wasn't his physical being. Oh my. Yep. So Hugh Jackman. So, should we do another one? I think we should do another one.
Yes.
We've only been talking for 30 minutes. We cannot have the show be this short.
No.
Wow. Do. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Do. Boop, boop. Do. Alrighty. Number 2. Hey, what did I say? I was like, we might get someone from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, like I said, the pile of names has gotten kind of small, so, you know, the odds are increasing, I guess. So, anyway, contestant number 2 out of the hat, Karen Gillan.
Woo!
Which Karen's, you know, obviously her, you know, resume is going to be a bit on the shorter side because she's a lot younger.
Yeah.
She's younger than me, so. So, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy, and also Doctor Who. Those are kind of the two big ones.
Yep.
So, I think was Doctor Who like her first big break? I know she was.
Let's see.
It was probably like her first like big break. According,
it sounds like it's yeah.
So it looks like she did some modeling, but yeah. And then of course, even before she was Amy Pond, she made an appearance in Doctor Who before being Amy Pond, and it's one of those that, like, after the fact I had to go back and rewatch episodes and be like, oh yeah, that is her.
Yep.
Because I am terrible with, like, retaining faces. I have to watch. Apparently, I need to watch something like 5 million times before I'll, like, recognize someone from something else. Because, like, you know, Peter Capaldi got announced as as the Doctor, and they're like, yeah, he's already been in Doctor Who. And I'm like, he has? And, I'm like, I'm watching Matt Smith's era, and like people are like, oh yeah, Karen, she was in, Fires of Pompeii. I'm like, she was? And, like, Freema.
Well, and she was under a bunch of makeup too. It's like you go back and watch Fires of Pompeii, and you're like, okay, yeah, I see the shape of your face.
Yeah, but even someone
your facial.
Yeah, but even like someone like Freema, who was in Doctor Who before she was the companion, and she's not covered in makeup, and I still don't put two and two together. So, yeah.
Well, it's like they're side characters, and
yeah,
and with her character, was cannon fodder.
Yeah.
That episode, but
Karen can have the distinction of although Doctor Who would reuse the same actors, because as we know, the UK has 12 actors and one rock quarry to film in. So Doctor Who's been reusing actors for multiple roles since really the beginning, but it's kind of become like a running thing, like a running gag, really, I think, since Colin Baker had an appearance before he became the Sixth Doctor. So I like to call it, making a Colin Baker. That. Yeah, I like to call it making a Colin Baker, though, just because I can do that.
Well, because that's the most notable. But even before that, Peter Purvis, who played Stephen Taylor in the first Doctor's era, he actually was in an episode of the same serial that his character was later introduced in.
Yeah.
He was in the Chase. He played like some country bumpkin from Alabama that they stumbled upon, and then like 4 episodes later, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes later, he's there with a full beard, and he's going to be the new companion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Karen gets the distinction of pulling a Colin Baker in Doctor Who.
Yep. Yeah. She did quite well.
Yes, she did. So. But it's kind of interesting that she was most known for Amy Pond, and then they announced then she and Arthur Darvill, they left, and then they announced that she was going to be in this little Marvel movie called Guardians of the Galaxy at the time, and at the time everyone was like, what's this movie? Who the heck even knows? Yeah.
Is it even going to be any good?
Yeah, it's a very obscure Marvel property.
Yeah. And then she shows up at Comic-Con having shaved her head for the role because Nebula has no hair.
Yeah.
And it was like, and that caused a big, to do
brouhaha.
Yeah. And then you see the first movie and just how well she does, like, villain, evil, murderous assassin type of thing, and it's like I when I watched that movie, I was like, okay, I can see it's her because I can kind of see her facial features, and her voice kind of sounds like it, although she doesn't have quite the thick Scottish accent in Guardians. But it's like it's Amy Pond, but it's not Amy Pond. And same thing in Guardians too. I mean she's got Nebula's a little less abrasive, or as the movie goes on, because her character kind of evolves a bit. But it's just, I don't know. She's just really good at what she does, and she wasn't just Amy Pond and it was red hair and short skirts and long legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does have legs for miles, though.
Yes.
I've met Karen,
short-lived.
and she's got legs for miles. So.
And we will.
Hey, if you've got it, flaunt it.
Yeah.
And we will not bring up the short-lived ABC comedy that she was on. I only watched a few episodes, and I'm just like, no, sorry, Sadie, I love you, but I'm not gonna watch anymore.
I'm sorry, Karen, but even like the first commercial I saw for that, I'm like, yeah, no, this is gonna get canceled so quick.
Yeah. Well, they do. Yeah, actors do have to pay the bills.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they have to give it a shot, and sometimes.
So good thing Guardian was in the in the works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, and I can't remember if we've ever mentioned Jumanji on the podcast a little bit, just like with the trailers.
Yes, we did when the
we have.
dropped, yeah.
Like she's in that, and just going by the trailers. The more I watch the trailer, I guess there's only really one out. The more I watch the trailer, the more I'm like, okay, this is going to be a fun movie. And part of that is down. I mean, she's one of the video game characters in that, and I'm just like, she looks like she's having a blast. Like her and The Rock and Jack Black and that other guy that I can't remember his name now, the little short guy, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks like it's just going to be just a barrel of laughs, and she looks like she's having fun, and they're so I'm actually, that's another one I'm really looking forward to. Definitely, I mean, it's probably not as highbrow as the one Hugh Jackman's going to be in, but you need some fun.
Yeah. And she's not done playing Nebula at all.
No.
So that we're getting Guardians 3, and Nebula will appear in both parts of Infinity War. So we'll be seeing her again. So
Nebula's getting her redemption, as it were. Well, she kind of already did, but.
No. But Karen's adorable, as most of the actually most of the companions from Doctor Who seem to be in real life. It's like you meet them in real life, and it's like, oh, I like you.
And speaking of Karen, if you've listened to our brother podcast, they interviewed her cousin, and she did happen to crash
the panel.
Crash the podcast. So if you do a search, you'll be.
It's one of their Comic-Con, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something. One of those events that her her doppelganger cousin.
Yes.
Yeah. Which now I've seen Caitlin show up at other cons and seen pictures of her, and I'm like, okay, I know it's been several years. Man, that girl has grown up.
Yes.
It's like,
and you can still tell, yes, they are related.
Very much so. And even though they're cousins, I've got cousins I look nothing like.
Yeah.
But they're cousins, and they really didn't know each other until after they were in Doctor Who.
I love that story. They didn't even know.
Because it was sort of like because they're looking for someone to play young Amy Pond, and Karen was like, well, I have a cousin, that kind of looks like me, and then they brought in Caitlin, and it was like that was their first time, if I remember the story right, that they'd really met or had anything to do with each other, and they seem to be really good friends, and they've gotten to know each other, so it's like, that's really cool.
Oh, Karen. I think that girl's got a future ahead of her. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Yes.
Just a little. So the Marvel paycheck doesn't hurt either. I'm sure.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, she's pretty well set.
Yeah.
And I do not begrudge her that at all. She deserves it. She's a very, very talented actress, and like she's got quite a long range, and she's done dramatic, she's done comedy, she's done action, and she's just fun to watch. She does a lot of good work.
Yeah. And follow her on social media, so especially Instagram, so because she's always posting pictures of her on set for things and at conventions and all the like. So
Yep, I think she's been to Salt Lake at least once, maybe twice if I'm remembering correctly, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. I met her at Lexington last year. Just had to keep track of like, what convention was that? Lexington last year. So, yeah, Karen, she's a doll. She's adorable. I'll leave it at that. I was gonna say something that would kind of maybe bring things down, but I'm not going to. So,
okay,
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. We're gonna keep this happy. So, excuse me. So, that girl's going places. I can just feel it.
Yep.
I'm glad I got her autograph now when it's fairly inexpensive.
Relatively.
Before she can really start charging Marvel actor prices. Anyway, okay. Do we want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
Okay.
Yes.
We had a short news list. We can do some more.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we keep pulling out people who've got short resumes too. So.
But we love them anyway.
We need
Yes.
someone. We need someone with a longer resume or something.
I forget when it has longer, but we've only seen like 2 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Okay. Yeah, still kind of probably we haven't seen a lot of what this person's done, but that's okay. So the one thing that she has done, I know we have all seen. The one thing that probably first springs to mind, at least with this particular group. So, third out of the hat, Natalie Portman.
Ah,
Okay, here we go.
we are really just like.
Let me
Say-
think. I have seen. Well, let's see. I've seen. Now that I think about it, I think I have seen a bunch with her in it. See, I've seen Thor. I've seen
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've seen Where the Heart Is. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yep, I've seen that. She was in V for Vendetta.
I've seen
Yeah.
that one. That's
Black
one of those.
Swan.
I'm like, I've seen it once, and I'm okay with. And that's all I'm happy to see with her in it. Well. Let me rephrase that. V for Vendetta is not my usual go-to movie. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yep.
She was great in it. She did fantastic. It's not something I will revisit very much though. But that's not down to her.
If you need a Natalie Portman fix, Thor.
Yes.
We'll go with Thor.
Yeah.
Or one of those Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, she. You know what? For what she had to work with the Star Wars prequels,
Yes.
she did all right.
She could especially against, God love him, but against Hayden Christensen's acting, especially in episodes 2 and 3.
Well, and George Lucas's directing.
Yeah, some of it's George Lucas's directing. I don't think he's inherently a bad actor. George Lucas trying to direct romance is where it fell flat. There's so when you think Star Wars and you think love story, you think Han and Leia sniping at each other, her calling him a scruffy looking nerf herder. I love you, I know, and that's the extent of it. None of this, I hate sand, it gets everywhere, and you're breaking my heart, Anakin. No. Too much.
No, there's
too much.
No more. But but I don't know if you've ever. Let's see.
I've caught bits and pieces of Black Swan, but that really wasn't up my alley. Yeah, Where the Heart Is was a cute movie. I don't know if you it was.
Ever know that one? It's I don't know if I'd call it a romantic comedy, just because there's romance in it, but it's more about this girl who she's pregnant and her boyfriend kind of abandons her at a Walmart, and she spends her last few months of her pregnancy living in the Walmart, and then they find her, and she just has a series of random good luck things that happen to her, even though by all accounts she should just be just be on the low end of poverty anyway. But then she gets a job, she raises her daughter, she finds a family kind of takes her in, and she makes something of herself, and she's kind of, and she does find love and all those kind of things. It's not a movie for everybody. It's definitely kind of a chick flick, but it's kind of a cute movie, and she does a really good job in it. And it's just kind of this single mother who makes a life for herself. She becomes a photographer and makes really good money doing that, and then her past kind of comes back around to not really haunt her, but by then she's figured out her life and knows how to kind of stand up for herself, where in the beginning of the movie she's just really kind of weak and ineffectual and doesn't really know what she wants and those kind of things. It's a good little movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cast in that one's awesome too. I mean, Ashley Judd, Stockard Channing, Joan Cusack, Dylan Bruno, who played on Numbers. I mean, that's not a cast to sneeze.
Yeah.
Sneeze at.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of if you especially you think of something like that and the Star Wars prequels. And I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but Natalie Portman was barely out of high school when she had those roles. She's only 2 years older than me at this point. So it's when she, was really, her career was really starting to take off with, Star Wars and all that. She was, 18.
Yeah.
So,
that's how they could get away with saying, "Oh yeah, Padme is 14 and she's the queen," and then sure.
Yeah. But as she's gotten older, obviously she's as most actresses are wont to do, is she started to really push herself as far as roles are concerned. I know I haven't seen it, but I've heard that her portrayal of Jackie Kennedy from the movie last year was supposed to be really, really, really good. Which she got nominated for all the awards for that. Which, being biopics, those tend to get nominated for things, not Star Wars.
Well, yeah. Well, where it's a movie about the Kennedys, they're
yeah. Yeah. So, but she's been kind of quiet actually, as far as working on things. I think for the most part, the last few years, she's had a couple of kids.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just kind of looking at her Wikipedia page
Yeah.
and filmography, and it kind of says like, you know, she's been, you know, raising her kids and doing some other stuff as well.
Yeah. She does make an appearance in if you look, I think that's her. I'm pretty sure that's her. Paul McCartney's music video for My Valentine. It's her and Johnny Depp. So that's a fun little thing. Last time I saw Paul McCartney, he sings that, and the music video plays up on the screens with her and Johnny Depp signing, actually, along to the lyrics. So
apparently she was also in his Dance Tonight video.
Yeah, I don't remember her being in that, but
according to IMDb, which
yes, we know how much you can trust IMDb, but it's also been a long time since I've seen that music video, so that's a lot older than My Valentine. So
apparently it's 10 years old, and she was a ghost.
Yeah. So, and then obviously she's part of the MCU. As 2 out of the 3 people we've pulled out of this hat. I mean, they've all got Marvel connections, but 2 are in the actual MCU, so...
Yep.
We did not do that on purpose, I promise.
There's just so many people who are in the MCU by now that it's like...
I was thinking, because we were trying to decide what we were going to do this week, and I was like, well, we can do names out of hat. And this will probably be a topic actually we can do down the line. It's not necessarily, it could be like maybe a top 10 or something of actors that are in like at least 2 of our fandoms, you know, because we joke about one Rock Quarry, and because we were talking in our Game of Thrones chat about. Because I hadn't realized that Finn Jones, aka Iron Fist, was in Game of Thrones. Because again, I don't remember people's faces. He also has a connection to Doctor Who because he was in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and that got us to talking about other people that are in Game of Thrones that are in other things. So that's a topic for another show. Is just how, you know, the Venn diagram of things that we watch and how many times people's faces pop up.
Mm-hmm. We can play 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, and it's not
for sure.
Well,
and yesterday I saw a Facebook post, and someone was watching A Knight's Tale. If you've ever, you know, with
yes,
someone saying like, and they didn't say the name of the movie in the post, but they were saying like, I see Wash, Robert Baratheon, and Jarvis. Helping out the Joker. And it took me a minute because I'm like, okay, I should know who all these people are. And then I was like, you're watching A Knight's Tale. Because all those actors are in that.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see if Jane decides to make a surprise appearance back in the MCU, because a lot like Gwyneth Paltrow, Natalie is like, okay, I'm done playing Jane Foster, and you know, you're not gonna see me anymore in the MCU. And then, you know, as we mentioned in our review of Spider-Man: Homecoming, whoop, oh, there's Pepper Potts. So
I don't know if the same thing can happen in November.
Yeah, I was saying with Thor Ragnarok, who knows what could happen. So
well, I did hear she definitively said Jane is not in Ragnarok, but you know,
she could be saying that just to say that.
Yeah, or you know, they could finagle a cameo a la Pepper Potts at the end of Spider-Man. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is certain until you actually see it happen.
Yep.
Or not happen.
Pretty much. That's the way it is with the MCU. No. Trust what the directors and the actors say to a point.
Yes.
Yes.
Trust but verify.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Shoot. Why am I forgetting her name? Sorry.
Well, she got so frustrated she's choking. Are you okay? What is it you're trying to spit out, Brittany?
Okay, I'm good. I had a mute. But no, that was a quote, and I couldn't remember who was quoting the character's name now. I feel bad.
Oh.
Well, say the quote. Maybe we'll be able to figure it out.
Well, no, wait. You just said the trust but verify.
Oh.
Like, why am I forgetting?
I don't know. A lot of people have said that.
Yeah, but just something recently for me that I watched. I just don't remember now. All right. Sorry. Ignore me.
That's okay. But yeah.
There's a visceral reaction us fangirls have when somebody says something. It's like, oh, that's a quote from something.
I have to look it up. Wait.
Oh.
Yeah. I just looked it up, and I'm like, it's attributed to quite a few people. So, from pop culture to politics and everything in between. So it's kind of like, okay, well, sure. But anyway. But yeah, Natalie Portman. She's in a lot of stuff that we like.
There's a movie that she's in that I should watch, but I have never seen. Is Garden State. Which apparently has a lot of actors I like too, but I still haven't seen it.
You know, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's always fun though when we do this. Do this particular, podcast topic is, even if it's someone that we know and have seen a lot of what we've done, when we go and start digging and being look at their IMDb or Wikipedia or whatever and see what else they've done, they're like, oh, I've heard of that. I should watch that. And, we suddenly our list of things to watch gets
grows.
Twice as long just from talking about people that we already know. And have seen it,
or even when we see a title of a movie that we're like, I have seen that. I don't remember them in that, and then you have to go look it up and like, oh yeah, okay, now I remember because maybe it's something from something earlier that they did, and they weren't before they were a big name.
Yeah, or we're like, oh, I've seen that. Oh, I should watch that again. I remember liking it. Yeah.
But I finally remembered I remembered the trust but verify, the quote I was thinking of. I've been rewatching Arrow. It's been on TNT. And
okay.
There's an episode called Trust but Verify.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. That's why I got excited. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It ties in. It's fandom related.
Yep.
I'm glad someone's still watching Arrow. I kind of fell off the wagon, but that's another topic for another day. Anyway.
We should probably stop at 3 just because.
Probably, yeah. We don't want this to get.
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
And who knows if the news guys are going to go kablooey.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
we never know week to week.
Yeah.
Your listeners.
Yeah, well, and considering Gen Con is next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, so.
Yeah, but we haven't I like doing our names out of a hat thing. I mean, even though it's sort of a thing we do when we don't have a particular topic in mind to talk about, it's just kind of fun because we don't always have to talk about things that are currently going on. We can talk about random stuff, and hopefully our listeners enjoy it. And if you, dear listeners, want to let us know your thoughts on any of these actors or this segment that we do or anything at all that we talk about, you can send us feedback. And that's how I'm going to segue into this. You can send us via our email address, which is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com. I always forget or I have to think about it. But that's our web address or website address, and you go there and you can find all of our social media stuff. Most of where we post is Facebook, and we do a lot of Instagram and Twitter. So you can leave comments on any of those pages, and those count as feedback too. We read those out, unless you tell us not to. But yeah, so we do that, and then we also have a YouTube channel, which it's just one place where our podcast gets posted. You can listen to it. We're also on iTunes, on Google Play, and Stitcher. So however you want to prefer to listen to us, you can choose how you want to do that. And also to support the podcast in a more financial way, just because it does cost money to get this up on iTunes and such. We have a Patreon account, which yay for all of our Patreon supporters. We love you guys so much, and I'm not just saying that. It really does help us be able to put out this podcast every week, and we really do appreciate that. So if you would like to donate, you can do that through Patreon, and you can also go through our Amazon store. And that's also found on our website on the right-hand side of the website, and you can click there, and we get a little referral kickback from Amazon for doing that. In fact, Jared had to buy textbooks for his upcoming semester of his grad program, and he clicked through the podcast website and got his textbooks from there. So it works, and it's wonderful. So you get your Amazon stuff, and we get a little support, and everybody wins. Mm-hmm. So, yep, that's where you can find us on the intertubes.
Yep. On the things.
On the things. Yeah. So, and there's also the Traveling the Vortex book club on Goodreads that we are. Well, Holly runs it more than any of us. We all participate.
We have a new book. I want to say it's the Brief History of Time Lords. And then I also did put up the poll for September's book. I thought, I've got my list. I'm just going to put it out there now. Mm-hmm. No rush to vote, but it's there if you want to go ahead and vote.
Yep. You can get that out of the way if you want.
Yeah,
if there's one on the list that you're like, ooh, I really want to read that one, you can vote for it.
Exactly.
And then also our photo challenge that Brittany runs this month is the ABCs of Nickelodeon. Yep.
I'm reliving my childhood.
Yeah, me too. It's still early in the month if you want to catch up or just start wherever we are right now.
Yeah.
Just look for the ABCs of Nickelodeon on hashtags on Twitter and Instagram. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can participate however you choose.
Yep.
It was a nice reminder I've got to do last night. Yesterday's and today, so I need to do that before today's over.
All right. So,
that's
love you all, listeners.
Yeah, that's us. So, and do make sure, it's been it was slow this week as far as news is concerned. Who knows what will happen, between now and next show. But like I said, Gen Con is next week as we're recording this, so it starts next Thursday. And I will be there all 4 days, for better or for worse. I will be there with the 5 bazillion people that apparently have bought badges. So, funnily enough, I sounded off the warning last show saying, it's almost sold out. And as of we're recording this, it's still not sold out, but it probably will be before Gen Con actually starts. So, but yeah. So if you're going to Gen Con, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter, because I will be posting on those. And then the following weekend, because I'm a glutton for punishment apparently, the weekend after Gen Con, that Saturday is the Indie Disney Meet up in Noblesville. So I will be at that with all my fellow Disney fans and Yeehaw Bob, and I'll be eating my weight and Dole Whips probably, hopefully. And then that Sunday, after is you got the Indie Disney meet on Saturday. Sunday is the Indiana Toy and Comic Expo down in Bloomington. So I'm going to be driving.
You're going to be a very busy girl.
I live in Indianapolis, on the south side of Indianapolis. So I'm going to have to go to Noblesville on one day, which is far north side, and then go to Bloomington the very next day, which is further south of me. So.
You're just going to be all over the place, lady.
I didn't think this through very well when I agreed to go to things, but oh well. It's fun. It's fun, It's all good. So anyway, I will be posting from those on the social medias. So, if you're interested in, I guess, living vicariously through me, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. And I will, of course, have recaps of all of those in the subsequent shows, assuming I live.
Oh, you will.
And then, thankfully, September is fairly quiet. Because Rachel's going to need a break before Time Lord Expo. Which is also quickly coming up. We're less than 70 days away from Time Lord Expo. So if anyone was thinking of going, get on it now, because they're going to, I don't remember off the top of my head, but they're going to stop ticket sales, pre-ticket sales in early October, I think. So itself, and then all photo ops are pre-purchased as well. So get on that. And if you want to enter the cosplay contest, contact me. So, okay. I think we're good as far as housekeeping is concerned.
Yep.
It's like July was madness, and now I've got a little bit of respite, and now madness is going to start again. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure I got all my ducks in a row.
It's not life if there's not madness, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. Pretty much. So.
Okay.
All right. So I think with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And when you hear from us next, more than likely, we'll be podcast aunties.
Yes, you will.
Yay! You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.